It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you to the interview series of Mentor My Board, Boardroom Talks. Boardroom is a place where fortunes of great companies are written, and hence, in the pursuit of bringing the best practices of the boardrooms, followed by eminent directors, independent directors, women directors, professionals like CEO, CFO, CS of corporate India. We have come out with the interview series with the directors, professionals, business leaders who have been guiding and acting as torch bearers for the corporates and the boardrooms. Let me take the opportunity to introduce Mentor My Board to you. Mentor My Board is a platform where corporate directors come together to learn, to network, to sharpen their boardroom skills, to get opportunity of serving on the companies, to act as directors, independent directors, and also get mentored by the expert mentors on the areas of governance, finance, marketing, strategy, and many more. We are on a mission to transform Indian corporate directors and boardrooms and create a community of 1 lakh directors by 2027. We help directors who continuously are looking to sharpen their boardroom skills, leadership skills, upgrade their knowledge on better governance through best board practices, which help the companies they serve on to grow faster and ethically. Let me tell you, we have been recently conducting the Boardroom Talk series and have been getting valuable, immense response and suggestions, feedbacks from you all. Thank you for liking this series, and surely we will bring eminent directors before you who have immense expertise and who are there to share the knowledge with you all. So kindly do share, like, subscribe to our Facebook and LinkedIn pages, Mentor My Board, our YouTube channel, and also join our community on the LinkedIn Circle of Directors and on Mentor My Board website, Circle of Directors. So today I, CS Divya Momaya, founder of Mentor My Board, invite our esteemed moderator, CS Bharti Iyer, who has rich 30 years of insurance industry experience, and she's been eminent advisor to the Mentor My Board. And today, let also get ready for the boardroom talk with Dr. Atanu. And I request Bharti to take it over and introduce Dr. Atanu to all of us and have wonderful interactions with him. Thank you. Over to you, Bharti.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Divya. That's a wonderful introduction. First of all, wish you very, very happy Dashera on the occasion of Navratri and Ram Leela. Dr. Purkayastha is based out of Delhi, so this year I guess it's been a very subdued Dashera and Ram Leela, but wish you all the same. Dr. Atanu Purkayastha is IAS retired officer, having served with the government of India and the government of West Bengal in various capacities. Post-retirement, he is engaged as arbitrator and independent director. Welcome, Dr. Atanu Purkayastha.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy Dashera to you all as well. Yes, it has been a subdued Dashera, obviously, for the betterment of the better of the people, so that they don't mix much, maintain social distancing, so that the COVID impact is minimum. And yeah, it is a pleasure to be with you all in this platform. As regarding this talk on independent director's role, I have been independent director for last 3 years, and this is mainly because of my my qualifications and my for being a former IAS officer, and I'm in the board of some companies, and it has been a good experience seeing that the companies are doing well. As far as independent directors are concerned, see, it's more depends on the people who are appointing you, because as an independent director, as you know, is not a part and parcel of the company. He is a non-executive, and he is there because the company wants him to help them in improving their corporate credibility and in corporate governance. Credibility is more important because a company can hire a better independent director if the person is of higher credibility, is in the sector that he is working, and the company has the the strength of that they want to employ a person of such credibility so that their company's performance increases. You see, more the person is known in his field, the independent director is known in the field, more goes the credibility of the company. It goes hand in hand. That's why you find that many of the renowned people who have retired, post-retirement, they have been the independent is a very important after his retirement from the army, from the active role. But he was as independent director in many companies. So you'll find many IS officers, IAS, IFS officers who are in the board of many companies. Because these people are already known, they have established themselves as a person of strength, of a person who is a man of unimpeachable credibility, integrity, has knowledge. So therefore, they can put those things, those characteristics in the betterment of the company. And the company also feels proud in mentioning that so-and-so is my independent director.
Very nice, very
Yeah.
well put. If I might just interrupt you because I gave a very brief introduction. So we would like to know actually, when you were in IAS, what was your field? What were your special, degrees? What was your area of specialization or the special skill sets which you acquired and which were recognized to be enabled to put you as an independent director? Because like you said, companies are proud to have people of credibility on their boards. So a brief background about your journey would be very useful for our viewers.
So I studied agriculture from GV Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, and then I joined the service. And later I did a master's in business management from UK, and later on a PhD from IIT Kharagpur. Essentially, my field of work has been agriculture and rural development, and that has been really my. I was fortunate that normally in service you do not get opportunities to work in the field or in the sector where you are qualified. Generally, as an IS officer, you are supposed to handle everything. But I got some chances to also work in this agriculture department. So that was one advantage. I can say that that helped me in putting my knowledge and my skill for the betterment of agriculture in my state as well as for the government of for the whole country. Uh, what happens is that when it is not only being for an IS officer, I can say it is not exactly his particular field of education or which is important, because an IS officer is actually exposed to many things, many administrative aspects, and they hone his or her skills as he or she becomes senior. So automatically the financial aspects, the administrative aspects, those you come to know of it. But just because you have been exposed to, at some point of time, you become a secretary of the department. So you know which department you are working, what are its, so that gives you the idea that what are its strengths, what are its weaknesses. So automatically you learn those, you can say the loopholes, the strengths, and so then you put them into practice, and you accordingly you create the skills or improve the skills, whatever you may say. Because like if you have the loopholes, you identify the loopholes, and then you develop skills to cover up those, to actually block those loopholes. If you have some positive um, qualities in the department, like it is producing something which is unique, say produce, how to market it properly, how to globalize the product. These are the skills that you develop, because after all, as a secretary, you should know the things so that you can help the department to perform better, the government to perform better.
perform better.
As
That's very
you
true.
grow in the service,
Regard to being invited, sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Atanu, particularly with regard to being invited as an independent director on boards of companies. Because why I'm telling you is we have a number of almost around 300 people who are as part of mentees of Mentor My Board. They are company secretaries, chartered accountants, HR professionals, and promoter entrepreneurs and all. And they are eager to get actually positions on board directors. So from such experienced persons, especially IAS people like yourself, what are the special skill sets which brought you onto the board, and which are the companies in which you have, interacted on the boards? If you can just mention to them, so that they will also try to develop these skills, and we can also help them to mentor such skills.
the skills are basically very general. The general skills, as a director, what you are supposed to know, you should know the administrative rules, regulations. You should know what if you are being engaged in the company, what are the objectives of the company, how they are working. So what is their strength, what are their loopholes? That you should know about it. You should study a bit about that. If you are, it also depends that what kind of company is going to hire you. As an independent director, as I said, you are just more like a doctor. You fall sick, you go to a doctor, doctor gives you a prescription. An independent doctor and director is a doctor. He gives you the prescription. He doesn't have any responsibility or liability with that the company must follow his rules or whatever he suggests. The independent director is basically a watchdog. He has to keep the shareholders' interest in mind, those who are investing in that company. He keep those things in mind, and accordingly, he should suggest. He is not a person who has got a pecuniary interest in the company. He, like a doctor, he collects his fees. That's all. Sitting fee is there. So to that extent, he should be able to justify that whatever sitting fee is collecting, for some genuine cause, genuine reasons.
Correct.
See, special skills. Sorry.
No, that's all right, Doctor.
I got a cold, so that's why.
No,
I checked, of course, not a COVID
sorry,
cold.
I just wanted to actually, what you have given are very valuable insights. But specifically, see, of course, because you are a government appointed director on various boards of public sector undertakings. Other than that, after your retirement, also people have invited you because of your eminence. So can you just give us a brief background about yourself and what were the boards you were invited on, so that our people also get to understand that how do you network, how do you show their credibility?
Your credibility is already known when you are an IAS officer. He doesn't have to prove another again. He has qualified into IAS. That itself is a big credit. And then when he is retired after 35 years of service, you don't ask any question, because you will not hire a person who has got something negative in his career that you'll automatically come to know. Today, everything is in the net, and one's background is also in the net. So companies, they do check that what is the credibility of the person, and then thereafter they appoint you. So obviously, there is no special. I didn't go out of my way to learn any special skill. Whatever I have learned during the course of my service, that is all that with me. Yes, you have to be honest. That is the one thing. That is, you have to be honest to the cause. You should be able to justify that, yes, you are there in that particular position.
I'll just add you to what Bharti asked, and what you mentioned just now. So when you actually got opportunity of being independent director on the board, do you felt at that time that something additional you should know, or you'll have to develop some skill to fit in a new role? Because from your IAS point of view and your independent director, so these were two different probably the positions, the roles. So once you actually went into it, did you think that some additional skill sets I may
It
need to
always
develop?
helps you. It always helps you if you
Yes.
if you read the and study the background of the company. It's what you should know, the sector in which the company is working.
Correct.
That knowledge you have to definitely pick up. Now, if tomorrow I made a say independent director in some steel company, then obviously I have to pick up the skills of or knowledge about what is the steel market of the steel around the world, in India, in the world, what are the demands, what are the various types. I've never worked in any steel company, but iron steel company. But then these are the additional knowledge I have to pick up. This is the out of, and also another thing is that you should know the financial aspects, the balance sheets and all. For a company secretary, or that is not a big deal because they are trained to do that. But balance sheets are not always well known to the people. So you should have an idea about how to read the balance sheet.
Correct. That's very, very important. I mean, reading the
The,
financials, and most important, reading between the lines what's written in the financials. That's something very, very
yeah, you have to be
unique
very
skill.
careful about that.
Yes.
That balance sheet you should know that, because after all, your foremost one of your foremost responsibility is to maintain the ensure that the shareholders' interest is
Correct.
maintained.
Correct.
Protected. Correct. So, are there any special skills as IAS officers which are developed, because you all are watchdogs for the government? You're representing the government of India through the agencies
We are not.
you undertake, which are trained in, which are not available to other professionals
No,
when
we are
you're
no,
taking care of shareholders' interests.
no. We are not the watchdogs. We are basically the government. As officer is actually the government. He runs the government. He is responsible for all the activities. He is responsible.
Correct.
He takes the decision, and he is also responsible for his decision, good or bad, whatever it is. Okay, but here it is a different thing. As an independent director, I am not responsible for the action that is taken by the board. I do not have any pecuniary connection with the board except that I get a sitting fee.
Hmm.
So it is basically for the particular meeting when I'm meeting them that yes, I get a sitting fee and whatever counsel I can give. So counsels that you can give, most importantly, is that if you are reasonably experienced, then experience in terms of your service, if you, maybe private sector, but how many years you have put on service, certain things you cannot learn
Correct.
without putting in or actually going through that system. So obviously, you have to learn it, and then it stays with you. The financial prudence that you have, obviously, if you are like when I was in the government, I was chairman of a seed corporation. There were two national seed corporation was under me. When I was joint secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, I was board of certain oil government oil vegetable oil companies. So sorry, I've got a cold. Then you should know what the company is working for, what is the sector, whether what kind of oil it is producing, from where it is producing, what is the import, what is the price fluctuation, demand and supply, scarcity. These things you have to study. I mean, whosoever if is appointed as an independent director, he actually learns the thing when he's actually he's working with the company.
Correct.
In the sense that what I'm saying, not working means not as a paid worker, but out of general interest, that when I'm actually going to attend a meeting, then I should be able to give some constructive suggestion. So for that, I have to gather some
Correct.
information. I have to study.
Correct.
Obviously, just because that say I have an IS officer, I know everything. I was an IS, so I know everything. It's not that. There are a lot of things that one doesn't know. But if you are in a position where you are entering a sector of which you don't have any information, you have to learn it. You have to give your time, you have to learn it. If need be, go to the net, go to the books, read it. But that you have to do. So if there are budding, aspiring so-called independent directors, then first thing is that they should first establish themselves in their field. They should be known enough that the companies have belief and faith that if we hire them as independent director, then my company is going to be benefited.
Absolutely.
My
Absolutely.
company,
And
they should
well said.
know the ABCD of corporate governance. These are the knowledges that
Yes.
one should pick up. If one doesn't have, but one should pick up.
So one question which I would like to ask you is, you have worked in the government boards, government company boards, and now you have been also contributing as independent director on the private sector boards. So, have you found any eminent differences, in the work culture, in the governance perspective, in the government companies versus, the private sector companies, or some major, difference you feel, or some things from government sector should come to private sector, or some private sector, best practices should go to government sector. Something, some anecdotes on that.
See, as far as when you are appointed on your official capacity as a director, you are not an independent. One is not an independent director.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, then one is responsible for what. I mean, he has to get the work done.
Correct.
He is equally responsible. He has to get it done. But once one is appointed as an independent director, he is not responsible for whether the company follows his instructions or not. He is supposed to give the right information. Tomorrow, if he thinks that yes, the company, in spite of his his advice and all that is not being followed, best he can do is he can resign and just move on.
Correct.
But he is not responsible for the failure of the company, if I may say so.
Okay. Yes, Bharati, for you. Over to you.
Just want to move on from this, and I just wanted to ask you, you have experience as an arbitrator also. What are the skill sets, or what are the special abilities which you feel can be brought by directors, independent directors and other directors as well, using your ability as an arbitrator? What are some things which you can guide our directors? That special thing of an arbitrator, negotiation
Arbitration is
skills.
basically a quasi-judicial work, where you arbitrate a dispute.
Okay.
Okay, you arbitrate a dispute. So, prima facie,
Mhm.
there is no link. There is no link. One need not have to be arbitrator to be an independent director. I don't see any link at all. But yes,
No, I didn't.
looking back, I can say that yes, why the arbitration takes place? Because there is a dispute between the two parties. Okay, so it is always advisable, whether you are arbitrator or not, to ensure that there is no dispute, because whenever there is a dispute, it costs the company a time and the money, because you have to go to the court, you have to go for arbitration, then you have to appoint arbitrators, you have to pay a hell of an amount of fees to them, and also if you go to civil court, then obviously it takes 2, 3, 4 years, whatever time it may take. That particular activity will be stopped, or and if you are before an arbitrator, so at least you can say for about a year, you cannot move on. So it is always better that you avoid dispute.
Agreed. So moving on from that question, I just wanted to ask you, like for example, there are so many crises on hand right now. How important is it for a director, whether it's independent or not independent, to be aware of practices of risk management practices?
Risk management. No, what kind of risk you are talking about?
Any type of risk, company specific risk, regulatory risk, reputation of the company, that risk, or financial risk, or the current catastrophe which is there, pandemic. So if the directors would be aware of what are the best risk practices, risk management practices, how important do you feel directors are to be cognizant to or sensitive to the practices?
See,
In IAS.
if you are talking about market risk, where a company is from, sorry, you're
No,
talking
that's
about market risk, then obviously as an independent director or as a director, you should be aware of it. A director should be more aware of the risk, because he is a paid employee. He's a paid employee, and it is his job to ensure that he knows the risk. Okay, whatever the risk it could be. If you are say in a fishing industry, then possibly you should be very careful about how to read the weather, because the boats, they go out on sailing to catch fish and all. So see, the risk varies from company to company, from sector to sector. So if you're a paid director, you have to know it. I would say that you will not be a director of a company if you don't know the risk. Let's put it very plain and simple. If you are, despite that, if you are appointed, then it is something like the mother and the grandmother or the wife has been appointed as director, and the person who is the owner, he is managing it. That's
just a tick box.
different.
Tick box.
Sorry?
Just to tick box that yes, we have a
yeah. But if you're a paid employed director, you will be employed only when you know those risks. You are able to analyze those risks. For an independent director, see, again, it depends on the sector that you are working. So you should have to read up, you have to study that what are the risks involved, and come to know what kind of risk. Risk can be of many kinds. Primarily, for a company, it is basically profit and loss. Whether it takes a particular, picks a particular activity, and whether it is going to make profit or not, that he has to understand. But that is not his primary responsibility.
Okay.
He just gives it, and accordingly, he just picks up the knowledge, and he can, in the board meeting, he gives those advices. But his bread and butter will not be held up for that. But for a director, a full-fledged director, executive director, it makes the whole sense. He should know it. And should be able to guide the company accordingly.
Understood. So we're just going to the next aspect of what you were saying on women directors. Because like you were saying, that your grandmother, number of listed companies are actually doing that. So SEBI has actually told that the top 500 listed companies should have 1/3 of their boards as women directors, at least by 2020. And now I think they're postponing it. And a lot of these companies are complying by just getting some of their relatives, checking the box like Divya was saying, to just ensure that, naam ke vaste compliance is done with SEBI's rules. So what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on women directors? What do you feel the balance should be ideally? And how
women directors are as good as any other men director. There is no differentiation between women director and a men director, except that when the person is from happens to be a woman or a lady.
Excellent.
That's just what she has
exactly.
to know all that.
That perspective, exactly what you said. Probably I have seen missing in a lot of places. Believe me, we have seen such boardrooms where women are there on the board, but they don't even come and participate. So
no, you see,
there are again the challenges maybe from both the ends, but women also need to understand that they are as good as other directors, and other directors also should know that women are as good as them. So absolutely well said point by you.
As you are saying, the kind of women you have seen in the boardrooms, they are basically not there because they are they are the directors.
Capable.
They are being appointed because of some other extraneous reasons which are not connected with the directorship.
Correct.
Plain and simple, it is that.
True. Very rightly said. So take this ahead. I have a question as to innovation. When we talk of the boardrooms, boards are the place, which actually sets the vision for the company. So as an independent director or as a director per se, now let's not differentiate between independent director or
you have to differentiate that.
Okay.
There's a world of difference between director and the independent director.
Yes, there is. When I talk from the innovation perspective,
executive director is fully responsible.
Correct.
Because he is a paid employee.
Yes.
Independent director is not an employee. He doesn't have any pecuniary relationship.
Correct.
So to that extent, you can understand the world of difference between their roles.
So there is difference, but
the world of difference. I repeat, they are the world of difference.
World of difference, yes.
A director
Agreed.
totally
Agreed, Dr.
responsible.
So see where we are coming from is like innovation is very important, especially disruption, because the whole world is getting disrupted. But because of disruption, you have a number of innovations coming through. Like for example, even our meeting today, on Zoom is one of the better results of this disruption which is coming place. So with regard to that, what Divya would like to know is how far do you think that any director, whether it is independent or executive director, how far they should be aware, keep updated with the times, be innovative, understand how important it is to grow the business because of innovations? And any examples that you have for that?
See, any knowledge which is constructive is always welcome. A reasonably educated person will engage himself in acquiring those knowledges, which opens up new vistas. So, innovation, if there is something new, he will keep an interest on that. Now, as far as the role of a director is concerned, if he thinks that it is important, he should push it.
Correct.
To what extent he will be able to do it, it depends on the company's management. As far as independent director is concerned, he can suggest these things in the board meeting, like we do. I do, at least, because in one or two in one company where it is actually in agriculture production system. So I do give my advice on whatever I have on agricultural developments. Yes, the board do take a note of those, and they are trying to put in that. So it all depends again the company per se, to what extent they are willing to take the innovation. They can, if they do not take those innovation on board, it doesn't mean that the company is doing wrong, or that the independent director or the director has not given proper guidance. Acceptance of innovation depends on a lot of things. There has to be financial requirement, whether do you have the financial backup to really follow those innovations or not. You may have to create new infrastructure. It may be time consuming. So it may not be that it is adopted immediately then and there. It may take, okay, you suggest something. It may take another 1 year to 2 years to 3 years. Or maybe the company may think it over. Okay, innovation, this particular suggestion is good, but considering our time constraint or financial constraint, we will not adopt it. It is free for them.
I see.
Correct.
So,
Bharti, you're on mute. You went on mute, Bharti.
yeah, because there's a plane going around the place, and every time it comes so close, there's so much of noise. So I just wanted to ask you, Dr. Purkayastha, what do you feel about onboarding and induction and orientation process for directors who are not executive? It can be directors who are appointed by government to be on the board because government is the owner of the company, or it can be independent directors. So what are your thoughts on the onboarding, orientation, induction process? How long ideally it should be? For how many board meetings it can be? Who can be responsible? Who can be very helpful to the non-executive director in this process? Other than the chairman of the board, of course. Other than the chairman of the board and the executive directors like CEO. Other than that, what is the length and the duration of this orientation program, which you, in your opinion, is useful, and who can be very helpful to the non-executive director, like for example, company secretary or the CFO, in your opinion?
See, this is a very there cannot be a straight answer to this. It depends on the qualification of the person, then which company, what is the person's relationship, how he's being recruited. Those are the things which decides that how long it will take. And frankly speaking, orientation can just brush up your knowledge, but you have to learn it through your working, and you have to gain that experience. That can be only brushed up by your computer board meetings that you are thinking to do as an orientation program. Unless I don't have the basic knowledge about, say, balance sheet reading, if I don't have the basic knowledge, then if you give me, I mean, so this is a part of a regular course. Studying the.
I'm not saying with regard to that. When you're invited onto the board and you come to the board meeting, you don't know anything about the company. Okay.
No,
With regard to orientation of the company's processes, the knowledge for you to give sufficient contribution to the company, a period of 1 month or a period of 3 months or 2 board meetings consecutively, would you feel a director is given a fair chance to get oriented with the company's processes?
no, I don't think so. I don't think that can be really worked out, because there are so many types of companies operating, and and there are so many sectors. So you cannot give orientation for every sector, and every company, every sector has its unique requirements.
So in fact,
So basic
every
requirements.
company, that's what I mean. Currently in India, not many companies help directors to get onboarded in the company with right induction process. So the way the new employee comes to the company, you induct the person by giving right knowledge about the company's various areas of operations. So when a director is coming, how important it is for director or for the company to get that right induction process done for that onboarding director, not for other sectors, but for that particular company.
Generally, and I really don't know if a company is going to hire someone who is totally, I mean, unaware of his company, unless it's a relationship based.
Correct.
Let us be very fair about it. If you say, okay, you want to fill up a post like the Companies Act says, and so therefore you want to put someone, that's a different issue. There you need not know anything. Otherwise, no company will take you if you don't have anything to any relationship with the particular sector in which the company is functioning. You will be appointed only on the basis of your knowledge, your eminence, your how well you are known in the sector. Then only you will be appointed.
Correct.
Otherwise, you will not be appointed. Otherwise, I could be a member of so many companies, but no, cannot be.
Correct.
So there cannot be a predefined capsule, like a course kind of thing, that if you have in your mind, 7 days or, see, it all depends. Like, I may not know. I'm a board of, I'm an independent director in a mines and minerals company. Now, they are querying many parts in India as well as outside. Now, how much knowledge can you, as a mentor by a board, can give me on a query? Tell me. It is not possible. I have to have a general understanding of
business acumen. Exactly. You should have your own business acumen.
Understanding of the sector. I should know what kind of minerals are being used, what are the minerals, what are the contents, basically, not even technicalities. What are the use can be. And then as I go through the board meetings, I relate the company with the particular sector and see what are the deficiencies, what are the plus points, what are the negative points, what else can be done to cover or to make good the negative points, how well the positive points can be sharpened or tuned up so that the company makes better performance. So this will depend on that particular, as one moves through the through time, over the number of board meetings, then gets the literature from the company and reads it. This cannot be taught over, say, a capsule or something like that. You can give a general guidance. You can give, okay, a company is there. You must know the balance sheet. You should know what are the ways how the recruitment should take place. General, those I think 1 or 2 is if you have a specific schedule where you can give capsule, I can give a headline, and then maybe 1 or 2 hours discussion on a basic knowledge, basic aspect. That should be sufficient, I suppose. That should. Okay. But actually, I won't say that with with all my years of service and being member of the boards and all, that I know everything. No. No. I mean, in that particular field also, it's not that. studied agriculture. I worked in the agriculture field, but still every day the new innovations are coming up.
Exactly.
So I have the latest things I don't know, but once I come to know about them, as I work with the company, as I read the newspaper, then as I go through the net, I come to know about it, and then I say, okay, this thing can be tried in my company.
Correct.
So I suggest.
That's
Rightly
nice.
said,
Actually, comprehensively answered that.
correct.
Sorry.
In fact, I
Very
was
comprehensively have answered that question, Dr. Atanu. I really appreciate that. Divya, do you have any other questions? Would you like to talk?
No, I think he has given wonderful insights, about his journey of independent directorship, about, the requisite skill sets which a director wires, and how you can actually add value by your expertise on the boards of the company. So very well, defined, sir. And most important, we not only have the aspiring directors, but also the pool of already trained people who are already serving on the boards. But again, as you said, I know everything tag really doesn't work even for directors, and directors continuously need to keep sharpening their skills and upgrading their knowledge.
Survive, they have to survive. They
Absolutely.
always have to update their knowledge.
Correct.
Even
So
otherwise also.
that's where
Even otherwise.
correct. Even otherwise. So exactly, that's where we have wonderful directors already part of the system who are serving on the boards of various companies. There is a pool of aspiring directors as well, but promoter directors are there. So again, it is a complete community which start interacting with each other on the leadership and on the boardroom positions. So we really feel our circle of directors will get immense learnings from this discussion today what we had on the board positions with you. So thank you for your presence here, and thank you to all the eminent
Thank you very
audience.
much, Dr. Atanu.
Yes, yes. So
Thank you very much. Thank you. I hope if my suggestions or whatever I have said can be of use by
Very insightful.
any person. That will be great.
Perfect. So thank you to the eminent audience who joins us every Friday on this Boardroom Talk series. Please do like, comment, share the video so that more and more directors and aspiring directors are benefited with such great insights from eminent directors who have rich board experience. And if you would like us to invite someone, please do post in the comment below. We will ensure that we have them in our coming weeks. Stay tuned, keep watching, keep sharing, and keep motivating us. Thank you.
Thank you.